Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 94 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and celebrating myself. So, yay for day 94! Woohoo! Now I only have, what, 6 more videos to go after this one? Yay! How exciting. Um, I always like getting closer to the end. Anyway, today I decided to celebrate being a damsel in distress. Uh, I know that sounds kind of funny, but um, I think I've done that a lot of times in my life. It might honestly underlyingly be some form of manipulation, which I know is not good, but it's there. Um, trying to be honest with myself as well as the people that are choosing to watch these videos. I also think it's kind of that underlying thing for me trying to get attention, a way for me to try to feel like I'm loved, because if I play the damsel in distress, then someone else has to take care of me. Someone else has to fix things for me, do things for me. And if it's something I don't like, especially if it's something I don't like to do, I always try to get somebody else to do it, or I pretend that I don't know how to do it, even though I do know how to do it. Um, and, I also think a lot of times you see in movies, the woman's the damsel in distress, the man has to come and rescue her. So I keep waiting for some man to come and rescue me, for someone to come in and fix all of my problems and make everything better. Um, but I've also learned about myself prior to doing these videos, but also in doing these videos, that I don't actually like to be controlled. I don't necessarily like the way that other people do things. I don't always like the way that other people do things. So even though I want them to come in and fix it and take care of everything, at the same time, I want them to do it my way, and I want to still be in control. and um, and honestly, I mean, I am better at asking people for help with things that I need help with, and I am capable of doing more things than I give myself credit for, which I've mentioned before. A lot of times I don't even think about whether or not I'm capable of doing it. It's just kind of like, oh, I'm too tired, or I don't want to figure this out, so I just want someone else to do it for me so I don't have to learn something new or do something new. Not that I don't like learning and doing new things. It's just depending on my mood, depending on how much time I have. And sometimes I just see other people's talents and abilities, and I'm like, oh, but you can do this, and then I don't have to figure out how to do it, because it's, time consuming and stuff. So I'm kind of like the damsel in distress, like I did with my vision board, and my friend was like putting all the pictures and doing all that stuff, and I'm like, this is so awesome, this is so cool, you know how to do this. And then I did those little poems for my kids at Christmas time, and she's like, wait, you know how to do this? What am I doing it for? like I I'm like, I don't know how to do it the way you do it. I'm not as I don't spend as much time doing it, and I don't usually do pictures and things in the background. So she's much better at it, in my opinion. And and I was like, well, you offered, so it never occurred to me to speak up and say, well, I know how to do this. Because I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I always never know how to do something, so somebody else can do it. That's I can get out of doing something. I am very good at playing the damsel in distress. I'm like, oh no, I'm in distress. I can't do it. I need help. And I know I do that a lot with my prayers, and sometimes like with my bishop, church leaders, and parents and other people. And sometimes I really am in distress and I need help. And sometimes I'm just stressed out and I'm overwhelmed and I just don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, I can't, I just don't have time. Can somebody else do it? Make my life easier? That would be awesome, because I'm just feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, which I guess in some way that means I'm in distress. And sometimes I just want the attention. I just being lazy and I don't want to do something, or I just want the attention. I want to feel loved. I want to feel cared for. I don't want to have to do it for myself. So it's, like when I was married, for the brief time that I was married, the first time I had to get the oil changed in my car, and my ex wanted to take it to some other shop. So I'm like, okay, I don't feel comfortable going to that place. I totally could have. I totally have since then. But I was like, can you take my car to get the oil changed in it so I don't have to? I always take my car to get the oil changed in it. I've done it like 1,000 times before I ever met him, I'm sure. And I've had to do it plenty of times since then. But I'm like, we're married. It's the guy's job, right? So I'm like, you go do it. He was kind of annoyed, but he did it anyway. So probably not the nicest thing for me to do, but I was like, hey, you can, because I wanted to be, taken care of. I thought that would be sweet. And of course, I don't know how sweet it actually was, but nice for me. I didn't have to go worry about it, but, and he did it, and he knows all the people at that place, so he got to go hang out with them. He was fine. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was kind of like, but it was something I was perfectly capable of doing. I just wasn't comfortable going to a new place to get the oil changed in my car. And I've since been there, and the people there are really nice and a lot cheaper than going to like Jiffy Lube or wherever I was going before. So and they do a good job. So I'm like, hey, cool. So I'm still going there. So it's kind of learning things, really. But that's just another example of my being, damsel in distress. Like, oh, great, I don't know what to do. So, and I'm perfectly capable of doing those things. I just don't, like I said, I just don't want to. It's something I don't enjoy doing. I'm like, I'm a damsel in distress. I don't want to do this. Somebody help me. I'm so sweet and innocent. I'm not capable of anything. It's an act. It's a ploy. It's a manipulation tactic. I'm aware of this. And sometimes I think I just feel like a damsel in distress or want to play one in my head because I just want Prince Charming to come and rescue me. I'm like, who doesn't want someone else to come and rescue them and take care of everything, just make all their troubles go away and just be like, oh, relax, I'll take care of it. Like they come and sweep you off your feet and everything's okay. They live happily ever after. I don't know what happily ever after actually is, but that's not been my fairy tale in life. Never has been. Has its moments of joy and happiness. Life always does, but life always has its trials and struggles too. And even in relationships, I think you still have to work at it. You still have to continue to grow together and get to know each other and to work through all the stuff that life throws at you together, or you end up going your separate ways if you always do everything separately. So, lots of things I've learned about that. So being a damsel in distress is obviously not the healthiest response for myself to have. It's, like I said, it's probably underlyingly a manipulation tactic more than anything. It's a means for me to try to feel loved and cared for, which I haven't always felt that way. So it's a way to fulfill an emotional need for myself. That I'm like special because someone else is willing to do it for me and I don't have to. I always think that's amazing. But sometimes people have helped me out or offered to help me out when there's like nothing they could do to help me. Ran over a rock in my car one time and someone pulled over and offered to help, but I'm like, yeah, pretty sure I broke everything under my car. It's gonna get towed. There's nothing you can do. They're like, okay, well, if I can help, let me know. And I'm like, hey, thanks. Gratefully, I was able to move my car far enough to get cell service and have someone coming to pick me up. Otherwise, they would be like, drive me to a payphone and then drive me back to my broken down car. But anyway, and I've had my tires pop a few times, and I know how to change tire and put on a spare tire. My biological mom made sure we all know how to do that. So I remember changing her van with me and my brother, and I remember trying to do it one time with a roommate, and I ended up calling my cousin, and he came over. But the problem is, by the time my cousin came over, we'd already figured it out. Or maybe he did it after he got there. I don't know. But I'm like, we got it up, and we got the bolts off. We just couldn't get the tire off. It was like stuck on there. And he comes over and just kicks it, and the thing just falls right off. And we're like, oh my gosh, we've been pulling on this dumb thing for like half an hour. But most of the time I've had a flat tire, I've always had someone else help me. I had it happen one time when my kids were in my car, and I pulled over, and I was like, great, I get to teach my kids how to change a tire. And it was dark outside, and we weren't in like a very lit up parking lot. And then some guy just randomly pulls in, and so he gets out and helps change the tire, and I didn't have to do anything other than, hold a flashlight or whatever. So I was like, you're so awesome. Like, thank you so much. I'm like, I love when little things like that happens and God just steps in and I don't have to do it. Because I don't like to have to do things, but I am capable of doing things. I think that's why God has given me that mantra that I am capable of more than I give myself credit for. I am capable of doing more things than I am willing to admit most of the time, because I just don't want to. I don't want to be responsible for those things. I don't want to have to deal with those things. I would much rather somebody else do it. So I put it off, I ignore it, or I pretend I don't know how to do it to convince somebody else to do it. Because, hey, I'm a damsel in distress, right? I'm not really, but I have noticed that I can play the damsel in distress very well, which is kind of funny, ironic. I've always, not always lived on my own, but I've always had kind of been forced to be independent and figure out how to take care of things on my own. I haven't had a lot of help in that area. Maybe I've had more help than I realized. I shouldn't say I haven't had help in that area. I wouldn't be able to do it if I hadn't had some help in that area. So I've always been able to get the help and assistance I've needed. But I sometimes still, like I said, do the little manipulation tactic, or I just don't speak up if someone offers to do something and I'm like, yes, do that for me so I don't have to. And then I just get super happy and excited, like someone changing my tire for me. And I'm like, yes, do that for me so I don't have to. Not that I don't know how to, I just don't want to. So, and of course, when you change the tire, just put a spare on, they have to go get a new one anyway. So, and then they take care of it. The professionals do it. So I'm just grateful I don't have to do things like that. But I do have to take care of myself, and I don't always like to do that. So when I'm just feeling super depressed or not wanting to do things, I really want to be the damsel in distress. I really want someone to come and rescue me and do everything for me. And then, as I start to get healthier and feel better, I realize it's really not good to have someone always do something else for me, because I always feel better doing things for myself. It's always nice when other people can help or ease my burden when I have too many tasks to accomplish. Even if I can do it, I just don't always have the time to do it. So it's always nice. But I know I don't have to manipulate people to get them to do things. I can just ask. And I don't have to pretend to be incapable or be a damsel in distress. But sometimes I think it's automatic. I don't recognize I'm doing it until after the fact. One of those subconscious things, maybe one of those things I was trained to do, a survival technique, because if I can't do it, I can't be held responsible for it, I can't get in trouble for it. Someone else can do it, it can make them feel good about themselves, and then I don't have to do it. Whatever the case may be, goes along with my being full of excuses, which is a video I did a few days ago, I think. And sometimes I think I just enjoy it. I enjoy the extra attention that I sometimes get when I'm being a damsel in distress. I don't necessarily enjoy it when I feel like I'm a damsel in distress and there's no one around to come rescue me. Like, where's my Prince Charming? I want to be rescued. And then I just get really, ornery and moody and jealous of all the other people that look like they have everything in their life. And I'm going to say looks like, because I don't know what everyone has in their life. And I'm sure everyone has some kind of trial or problem or something going on underneath that I am totally not aware of. But when I'm sulking and feeling overwhelmed with everything, it's easy to get jealous of all the other people that have what I want. And I'm like, they have what I want. And I don't know if it's exactly the way that I want it or if it's even healthy or whatever else it is. But I'm sure they have other problems to make up for whatever. And I don't know. Anyway, their life is not perfect any more than mine is. I'm sure there's things they want that other people have that they don't have. So it's a cycle. It all goes like that. But that's when I feel like I'm some damsel in distress and I want Prince Charming to come rescue me. I still would love to find Prince Charming, or maybe a knight in shining armor. I don't know. But I also realize that whoever that's going to be isn't always going to be able to rescue me. That sometimes I have to just rely on the Lord, and I have to do my part to rescue myself, because there are some things that other people can't do for me. And I have learned that other people can't make me happy, and they can't take away all of the emotional pain and burdens that I have put on myself. Those are things I have to work through. They can help, they can support, things like that, but it's still something I have to do, and that my own happiness is my responsibility. It's not somebody else's, and I can't necessarily make other people happy. I can do things for them that I hope will help them be happy or put a smile on their face, but I can't make someone feel something they don't want to feel, I guess, and they can't make me feel that way either. And that's a huge burden to put on someone, to make them be the center of your world and happiness, and make them expect them to do everything. And it doesn't work. Ultimately, they will fail. Ultimately, I will fail. I'm not perfect. No one else in the world is perfect. So I think the Savior was the only one that was perfect. And so I'm like, I know God is perfect and he's there for me. He's always there for me, but he still makes me figure out how to do stuff on my own sometimes. And I was like, really? Can't I just be the damsel in distress? Can't you just fix this for me? I'm pretty sure he gets a kick out of that and just laughs at me. He's like, oh, Midge, you're so cute. You can do this yourself. Trust me, I know you can. And I'm like, I know I can. I just don't want to. That doesn't seem to work. That does not seem to work. So if that works for you and your reality, I'm totally jealous, and please teach me how to do that. If you have the same struggle as me, I understand. I commiserate with you. I wish that it would work, that I could just be like, oh, I can't do it. I'm a damsel in distress. Someone else come do it for me. But if I only get them to come do it once, and it needs to be done over and over and over again multiple times, I'm on my own. I have to do it. You know, like sometimes people will be nice and come do my dishes for me. I'm like, yay. But dishes get dirty again and I have to do them because otherwise they pile up. So it's nice that someone else can come in and do it. But if I don't maintain it, if I don't keep at it, then it has to be done again. And yeah, it doesn't always work that way. So learn to do all of those things for myself, even though I don't like to. I like to be a little damsel in distress and get other people to do things for me. But it doesn't always work out for me, and they don't always do it the way that I like. And so I either get stuck with how they do it, or I have to redo it myself, and I'm like, dang it. Most of the time I like when other people do things for me and they help me with stuff, and I'm like, yay, I don't have to do this myself. Being a damsel in distress work today. But it is not always my fallback response to things. Sometimes I'm the complete opposite, where I just want to be in control and I want to do everything myself, and I don't need anybody else in my life, which that goes to my playing on my extremes. Where someone else do everything, I'm like, stay out of my way, I will do everything. Somewhere I need to find a balance in my life, but I am still working on that. I may never find a balance. I may always have my little swinging pendulum. Maybe it just won't swing quite as far in the future. I don't know. But this is one of my extremes, one of my fun little faulty things that I like. I especially like feeling special when people do things for me. And I'm like, oh, I'm special. Oh, I'm loved. Oh, I got out of doing something I didn't want to do. This is so awesome. But it works so much better when people surprise me with it as a service than it does when I feel like I have to manipulate someone to do it. Then I feel like I kind of won because I manipulated them, but I think I also feel kind of bad because that's not really a nice way to get what I wanted. I think it's one of those things where I feel like, yes, I have power over other people. Kind of a creepy, not so nice thing about myself. Not a lasting power, not a lasting hold, not a lasting any of those things. Doesn't make me that wily type of woman, I guess. Controlling, whatever, I don't know what my imagination says I can be, and I'm so not. It's my delusion, and every once in a while it pans out, and I'm like, yes, it worked. And then, it's a one-time thing, one and done. I'm like, I want more. Doesn't work that way. Anyway, that is my ramblings on being a damsel in distress. So if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, or share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. Make my brain work eventually. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude. Find some fun, fabulous ways to celebrate yourself, and maybe do some writing.